Hi, I'm Caleb Jackson, a senior at Rock Creek, and my exit project was to teach a self-defense course. But before we get into all that, I would like to thank you for taking your time to watch this video. And I know your days might be stressful because of this corona stuff, but we got it, guys. But yeah, moving on. So I've been in fights before, and I consider myself to be a fighter. But I don't mean like I brawl in the streets or anything like that. But I train in the mixed martial arts, and so I train in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, Muay Thai, and I'm also a wrestler. So I like to consider myself well-rounded and a good athlete in this sport. And so my exit project was to teach other people how to defend themselves with the skills that I've learned over my years of training. So before we get into learning how to defend ourselves with actual moves, we have to learn about the arts I am teaching you to defend yourself with. And those are categorized into Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, kickboxing, wrestling, and Muay Thai. And those four different sports make you a pretty useful fighter in the streets or in a cage or whenever you need to defend yourself. And so my goal was to make a normal person able to defend themselves from. So the first sport we're going to tackle is Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. And that sport is super old, and it derived from Japan and then ended up in Brazil because of practitioners wanting to travel the world and learn more about how other people defend themselves. So it is really Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and Jiu-Jitsu are completely different forms of art. And so Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is more about smaller guys taking on bigger guys, being able to submit guys from their back, or being able to win in a fight no matter if you're smaller or not. One move that the Gracies came up with is a guillotine choke, and that choke is super easy to do, and it's super easy for a smaller person to do it. As long as they know what they're doing, anybody can do it.
The first move you guys are going to learn is a guillotine choke, and you do it by starting off on someone's back and throwing your arm around their head and ending up behind their armpit on the far side. And then with my hand that's closest to the armpit, I put it into the pit of my elbow, stand up, and sit back. And while I sit back, I put my knee into the far hip bone of my opponent so I can push his body away as I squeeze the head. And the more you squeeze, the more likely you are to submit your opponent.
So the next martial art we're going to go over is kickboxing, and it derived from old school full contact karate. And once when it got wind in Japan of less uniform fighting style, K1 and Glory Kickboxing really brought that those venues. They really brought kickboxing into the global scene as well as a competitive sport. And the biggest difference between Muay Thai and kickboxing is that there's no strikes in the clinch, and that people in kickboxing also fight for the knockout. Otherwise, in Muay Thai, they fight for technique, and but that's usually in UK, US, and Russian and Dutch style kickboxing. About kickboxing is the combinations are really key into the knockouts, and so I'll show you a combination right now.
So the biggest thing about combinations is about moving a different hand or a different foot each time, like alternating left, right, left in a kick, and combining different strikes to catch somebody off guard or catch somebody at the wrong pace.
As you can tell, that combination can derive a lot of power, and it's like that the entire time during a match. So someone will do a combination and then step back, and then the other guy will do one, and then you'll do one, and then you'll step back and do it again and again. Now rolling right into Muay Thai. And Muay Thai is taught in the gym in JC, so I don't really know a whole lot about it in the technical aspect. But I do know the major differences are super technical, so Muay Thai guys are super precise. And they do like to strike from distance or in the clinch, so they like to grab onto somebody to punch. Or they like to step back and work from a distance. And Muay Thai derived pretty much the same way as kickboxing, but they just have different rules. So what I'm about to show you is working from the clinch. So a little bit of Muay Thai work I learned from my gym. Um, and a lot of it is just flowing different aspects of martial arts into the accumulation of what is MMA. And so working from the clinch and using my knees and stepping back and punching and using my distance really well is what I think Muay Thai is used for.
During the showing of this Muay Thai technique, you can tell that my strikes are coming from a lot further away, and then I have a lot more bounce to my step. Like with these kicks, they have a lot more power because they come from a lot further away. As you can see, this is me working from a clinch and using my knees and my distance and separating into long distance and not really spending a whole lot of time in between. So it's either in and out. So you're working in with your knees, in, and then you bounce out.
What I use Muay Thai for is just fine-tuning my kickboxing and just getting better at the technique I already know and just bounce around and it's more playful than I would say kickboxing as well. Wrestling is the last sport we're going to get into, and wrestling is everything in between. It is your balance, it's your form, it's how precise your technique is, and it's how you can control your body. And mostly the number one thing I think in a fight wrestling plays into is taking someone down from their feet to their butt or to their back and working someone while you are on top of them on the ground.
So the next technique we're going to go over is a double leg takedown. And the key to a double leg takedown is getting your butt down and your body low and sticking your knee in between his legs and cutting it like a tightrope. And then stepping up with both feet and lifting with all you got. And then you can control somebody like on a lever and drop them on a dime if you would like to.
Now that you've seen that video, you can tell how important wrestling is in a fight, because if you wrestle correctly, you can have complete control of someone's body and be able to completely dominate them on a mat or in a competition or even in a real fight. Now that you know all those techniques, that's all you essentially need to know to be able to defend yourself in the real world. If you can take somebody down and submit them, or if you can beat them up standing up, or if you can grab them and put knees in their mouth, you should be able to defend yourself in a real world situation. So that's why I think this class would have been a smash hit and people would have thoroughly enjoyed themselves, because I think I would have made it a fun way of teaching, and also my mentor would have made it really fun for everybody else because it would have been a free class. And on another note, me and my mentor connected really personally, and we had a great time because he pretty much taught me how to teach. I already knew how to do these moves, but he taught me how to teach. And also making this video, I had a great time doing this with my brother, and it just felt really cool to be able to teach somebody what I